Hey, fourth graders, math lesson for May 5th, Tuesday. Some of you did this live with me on the Zoom. This is for anybody that missed the Zoom meeting with us today. We're looking at pages 289, 290, and 291 today. So 289 is this page. You might have to pause me to get that ready. You should have enough room to do the work, but there's a lot of work. So I'm going to work through this with you. A lot of stuff to break down here. I'm going to make it just bigger for right now so you can read it with me. It says, solve the problem below, show your work in the space provided. Mrs. Wyman wants to install a metal fence around her rectangular backyard. The perimeter of the rectangular area she wants to enclose is 170 2/4 feet. 4 panels of fencing, each one 7 3/4 feet wide and 2 2/3 feet high, were needed to complete a side. What are the dimensions of the sides of a rectangle of the rectangular area Mrs. Wyman wants to put a fence around? Okay, so here's the first thing I'm going to tell you. For this problem, the 2 2/3 feet high does not matter, because what we're looking at, I'm going to make this smaller again so that I have work room, and I'm going to scroll up so that we can see the work. This 2 2/3 feet does not matter for what we're working with, because what we're looking at is we have this rectangular area, okay? This is her backyard. And I'm not even sure if this is an accurate representation. It really doesn't matter, because if you started walking from right here and went all the way around this enclosure, that's the perimeter. Or if we put a fence that enclosed all of this, it's this 170 2/4 170 2/4 feet all the way around. And what we want to know is the width and the length. And the way that we can do that, the width is going to be both of these, the length is going to be both of these. Width plus length plus width plus length equals perimeter. So the height of the fence, how tall it is, which would be 2 2/3 feet, so somewhere probably like right in here, it doesn't matter. It's just how long the pieces are that matter. So what we need to do first is, they tell us what is important is that it took 4 panels of fencing that were 7 3/4 feet wide to complete one side. Now we don't know if that's the width or the length, so that's where we have to be able to decipher this. But the first thing we need to do is we know that one side of this is 4 times 7 3/4. Now you might want to have some scratch paper in case we run out of space here to work. But I'm going to do all my work on here, and I'm going to have to do some erasing because I don't have enough space to do everything. So if we're doing 4 times 7 3/4, we're going to do 4 times 7 and 4 times 3/4. So I got to put my 4 over 1. And I want you to go ahead and solve both of those right now to figure out what 4 times 7, and 4 times 3/4 equals. You add those together when you're done. I'm going to calibrate my smartboard while you do that. Okay, if you need more time, you might want to pause me. If you don't, here we go. 4 times 7 is 28, and 4 times 3 is 12, and 1 times 4 is 4. So you'd get 28 12/4. Of course, though, we know we don't want to leave this as 12/4. So I'm going to show you a trick here to try and speed this up. We could go 12 divided by 4, but another way to look at this is you can count by 4s and get to 12s. How many 4s go into 12? 4, 8, 12. 3 of them. So 12/4 is the same as 3. So altogether, that side is 28 plus 3, 31 feet long. Okay, so here's what I know. I know that one of these sides is 31 feet long. But now we're going to decide if this is the length or the width. Because 31 either goes in here or in here. Okay? But what we need to do is, there's going to be two sides, so if this is our rectangle, if this is 31, so is this. And if this is 31, so is this. We got to figure out if it's the width or the length. So we can double that, because another equation for perimeter is width times 2 plus length times 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and multiply it by 2. Go ahead and solve that. 31 times 2. 2 times 30 is 60. 2 times 1 is 2. So you should get 62 feet. So either the 2 times, we can do this equation. This is the basis of algebra, guys. The perimeter is 100, oh, I almost messed that up. This equation would be 170 and 2/4 equals, now we know that one of these, let's width plus 2, or width times 2 plus length times 2. So what we have to do is we have to figure out if this is length or width. We can take this 170 and 2/4, 170 and 2/4 minus 62. And what that's going to do, if what we're left with is bigger than 62, then that means that this is the width. If it's less than 62, then that means this is the length. So what I want you to do, you really don't even have to worry about that 2/4, excuse me. Take 170 and subtract 62. Go ahead and do that. Pause me if you need to. Okay, we're going to cross out the 70, make it a 60. This becomes 10. 10 minus 2 is 2. 6 minus 6 is 0. And 100 minus 0 is 1. So 102, and then I got to bring my 2/4 down because that's still there. All right, so this, if you look, 62 is smaller than 102. So that means width times 2 is 62, and length times 2 is 102 and 2/4. So then was this 31 our width or our length? Because 31 times 2 is 62 and it's less than this, I kind of gave it away. The 31 is actually your width. So this is 31 and so is this. 31 plus 31 is 62. Now, what we know is that this 102, I'm going to erase this part right now. Here's what we know now. That this 102 and 2/4 is the length, but it's the length times 2. So we have to take this and cut it in half. Okay? Now the problem with that is, if I just gave you this, a lot of you would be able to take that. But the problem is, what do I do with the 2/4? Well, we need to cut that in half too. And that's really easy. Just think, if I have 2/4, what's half of 2/4? Half of 2 is 1, so 1/4. Here's an example. There's 2/4. If I cut that in half, or get rid of half of it, it would just be 1/4. Right? Okay, so now I need you to take 102 and divide by 2. You need time, pause me. So I'm going to start working right now. If you haven't started, give me a pause. What times 2 is 10? 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Add a 0, and subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. 10 minus 10 is 0. How many 2's go into 2? 1. 2 times 1 is 2, and subtract, and you would get 0. Your answer should be 51, but don't forget your 1/4. This is going to be 51 and 1/4. Now we could check that to make sure it's correct, but I know it is, because what you do to figure this out is add this together, or times 2, 31 plus 31, and then 51 and 1/4 plus 51 and 1/4, combine those because width times 2, 31 times 2, and length times 2, 51 and 1/4 times 2, added together will give you perimeter. Now this next part is particularly challenging. So make sure you're staying with me and working with me on this. What we're doing here is they want to know how many more fencing panels does she need to finish the remaining 3 sides, so all together. So it took 4 of them to do one side. And we had 170 and 2/4. We did 31 feet. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to do this subtraction problem because we need to know how many more feet of fencing we need. So go ahead and do that right now. Pause me if you haven't finished. 2/4 minus nothing is 2/4. Can't do that, so I cross out the 7, I make it a 6, that becomes 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 6 minus 3 is 3. 1 minus 0 is 1. So we need 139 and 2/4 feet of fencing. And I know that each piece of fence is 7 3/4 feet. Well, I'm going to show you a little different way to do this, okay? To try and speed it up. Because normally what we'd have to do is we'd have to divide 139 2/4 by 7 3/4, but that's a lot. That's something that I haven't taught you how to do. So what we're going to do is instead of dividing, we're going to multiply up. And I think a good place to start, because I know I have to be under 139 2/4, would be to take that and multiply by 10. So here's how I would do it. I'm going to try and speed this up for you. 7 times 10 is 70. I'm doing 7 times 10. Now I have to do 3/4 times 10. And what we got to remember is I would put this over 1 now, because now I'm doing the fraction. What's 3 times 10? 30. And 4 times 1 is 4. You know we can't leave it like that. We can't leave it as 3/4. So we're going to take 30 and divide by 4. Okay? We can't do 10, but I can do 5. 4 times 5 is 20, and I subtract, I get 10. How many 4s go into 10? 2. 4 times 2 is 8, and subtract. And 3/4 is the same as 7 and 2/4. So I can take this, and instead of writing it as 70 and 3/4, I can, or 30/4, I can write this as 70 plus 7 and 2/4. For what would the total be then? 77 and 2/4. Okay. We need to get to here. We've done this much. So the next step is to figure out how much we still need. Oop, I forgot what I did there. I believe it was 139 and 2/4, and we need to subtract 77 and 2/4 to see how much more we need. So go ahead and do that. 2/4 minus 2/4, 0/4, I'm not going to put anything there. 9 times 7, or excuse me, 9 minus 7, 2. And 13 minus 7 is 6. We need 62 more feet of fencing. Now here's what we know. If I multiply it by 10, I'm going to get 77 and 2/4. That's too much. But what I can do is I can kind of estimate here. I know it's going to be 7 and 3/4, and I'm going to just think about what can get me close to 62 if I multiply that. Well, if I do 9, I'm only going to take away about 7 feet. So that's going to be 70. I'm estimating. This is how estimating is important. If I do 8, it's going to be like taking almost 14 away. So let's try multiplying this by 8. 7 times 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. 56 equals 7 times 8. Now I have to do 8 times 3/4. 8 times 3 is 24. And 4 times 1 is 4. Can't leave it like that. So let's figure out what 24/4 equal. What times 4 is 24? And it's 6. So I could write 24/4 as plus 6. And take a look at this. We needed to get 62. 56 plus 6 is 62. So what's our answer? How many panels do we need? Here we did 10 panels. Here we did 8. How many total panels is that? 3, 2, 1. 18 panels is what we ended up with there. So those were your answers. 18 is the answer for panels. We're going to go on to the next one. These next ones are a little easier, so hopefully I can just show you how to do these and then you'll be able to do these on your own. So this now is, I believe, page 290. These are super easy. I'm going to show you how to do these. So easy, you're going to laugh. All you do is take these and add them together. So go ahead and do that. 1/2 and 1/2 is 2 halves. 3 plus 2 is 5. This 2 halves is the same as 1, so it could also be 6. Now what you do, you take that answer once you've added these together and double it. Add these together, then double it. 6 times 2 is 12. Try this one on your own. Add them, then multiply by 2. Three and 2/4 plus 3/4 is 5/4 and 3. Now if you wanted to, you could just simply take that right now and multiply by 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 4 is 4, so you'd end up with 10/4. And then you'd have to reduce this. How you do that is by going 10 divided by 4. 2 times, that's 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. So we get 2 and 2/4. 6 plus 2 is 8. And we still have the 2/4. So excellent job there. Now here's where it gets a little trickier. We're going to do just 2 of these and we're going to be done. If you look at this one, I have the whole thing, the whole perimeter is 8/10. This is 3/10, so that means this has to be 3/10 too. 3/10 plus 3/10 is 6/10. So that means that this and this combined has to be 2/10. So if this and this is 2/10, what's just one of them? Split it in half. What's half of 2? 1/10. Give this one a try. First step is double this. If you double this, you should get 2 and 2/10. The whole thing is 4 and 6/10. So subtract that. 4 minus 2 is 2. 6 minus 2 is 4 tenths. Now to figure out the length, you need to divide that in half. So cut 2 4 tenths in half. Super easy, you can probably do it in your head. What's half of 2? 1. What's half of 4? 2, and then you have tenths. So your length is 1 2 tenths. Alright, I'm going to go over your math boxes, let you know what your assignment is for this week. What I am going to be requiring you to hand in to me. So, taking a look at math boxes this week. On this one, it's just multiplying. We're going to do A and B. Save C and D. On box 2, today do letter A, save letter B. Do, save. Okay. This one, I think, is the one that I'm going to have you do for homework. This one is homework. It says Casey charges $11 per hour to babysit infants, $9 for toddlers. She babysits infants for 20 hours, or 22 hours. That's 11 times 22. I don't really even need you to do the estimate. I just want to see your number model with unknowns. So if it's $11 in 22 hours, that's what that's going to look like. She babysits, and toddlers for 18. That's going to be 9 times 18. How much more does she need to earn to, so add 9 times 18. And we need an unknown, so it's for a bike, let's make it B. But she needs $450. So that's like 450 minus that. So do 11 times 22, 9 times 18, add those together, and then subtract it from 450 to get your answer. Just for today, we're going to save this. Might be something that I have to work through with you. I don't know how you guys will do multiplying decimals. And then down here, making a line plot. This is also going to be your assignment, is making a line plot, because this is what we worked on the other day. Remember that we have eighths here. So every odd one, like this is 3 and 5 eighths right here. This one would be, I'm going to make it bigger because I can't fit them in, but I want to show you that this one is going to be your homework. This spot right here, this red one, is 3 and 5 eighths. The next one would be 3 and 3/4. And the green one, 3 and 7 eighths. You'll have more room to write. This green one, 4 and 1/8. 4 and 1/4, and so on. But I need to see a picture of box 3 and box 5 for homework. So homework is page 291, box C, box 3 and 5. And it is due Saturday, end of the day Saturday. So you have all week to finish this. But the sooner you get it done, the better. All right, guys, take care.